What's going on, guys? Happy Friday and happy Easter to everybody. In this video, we are talking about 5 sophomore players, second-year players that could absolutely boom for fantasy football 2025. Big episode here, short big episode actually. You're going to want to write these names down and make sure you target them in fantasy football 2025 drafts, okay? Very, very important video. Now, I will be doing a ton of fun things here, including Monday mock drafts. Going to be doing best ball this year. Going to be doing amazing advice, vlogs like this, full podcast. Going to be bringing players on the show. So there's going to be tons of exciting stuff here on the #1 fantasy football podcast. So turn on the bell, hit the thumbs up, and make sure you guys are subscribed. So just hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell. It's very, very important. Also for breaking news as well. I'll be doing a lot of shorts, a lot of reels, stuff like that. And also comment below. Let me know, are you guys going to be targeting these sophomore players? Are they on your radar? I'd love to get your feedback below. It's very, very important that we make this ultra interactive, okay? Also, grab the 16-round draft so you can pre-order right now. Use code DRAFT to save. It will help you guys get light years ahead of the competition. And when you grab 60 rounds, make sure that once you check out, you do add the Fantasy Vault. Oh my God, I reveal all my secrets in that as well. All the sites I use, a lot of inside information. The Fantasy Vault, keep that in the back of your mind as well, okay? Or you can purchase the vault separately. I've linked it below. All right, let's dive right in. The first player that's a sophomore player that I absolutely love is Malik Nabers. Now, Malik Nabers was a first-round pick. He was 6th overall. This is huge. So, he was a top prospect coming out of the draft last year. Now, here's what I love about him. He's out of LSU last year, second in targets. That is huge. Second in targets amongst wide receivers. 3rd in receptions. This is massive. 170 targets, 109 receptions, 1,200 plus yards, 7 touchdowns for can't guard Malik Nabers. This is huge. He gets Wilson at quarterback this year. Finished 6th last year in fantasy points, sitting number 7 amongst wide receivers. So he's going to be very expensive, but you're getting a young, amazing talent who's trending upwards, who had great numbers. Now, that being said, sometimes receivers, let's go back to Jamar Chase's rookie year, has this really good rookie year, and then there's a sophomore slump. So that's why we're talking sophomores here. And based on the value, last year we were getting him in the 3rd round. Now we got to pay a late 1st round, early 2nd. I don't know. It's a bit of a problem for me considering I'm going to be looking at running backs at this ADP. So while it's really attractive to look at Malik Nabers, and I see the upside, especially in Dynasty, you're going to have to overpay if you want him this year. But I gave you the stats, man. Number 2 in targets last year. He's getting a ton of work, a ton of targets, a ton of looks, and he's going to continue to eat. That being said, are you willing to pay the price tag? Drop a comment below. Let me know. I probably won't because I'm looking at running backs, okay? Number 2 here, another sophomore player that's trending upwards, which you're going to get for better value. Remember, Malik is sitting at number 7 amongst wide receivers. The next guy is Marvin Harrison Jr., finished 30th last year amongst wide receivers, but he is sitting 20th amongst wide receivers on the Sheep rankings. Now, if you want 16 rounds, I'll tell you exactly where to draft this guy so you don't miss out on him in the 16-round draft. So you don't want to be playing and drafting off rankings. Rankings won't help you, but he is sitting 20th. He was a 4th overall pick in the draft last year. Here's the thing. 116 targets, which isn't bad, but only 62 receptions. We're going to have to see that go up significantly. 8 touchdowns, not bad. But understand that the only caveat, the only kind of drawback with him is Kyler Murray. Now, I'm just not a Kyler Murray fan. They signed McBride, paid him big bucks. He's going to get his share. But aside from that, there is no other receivers on the Cardinals that are going to be, in the pecking order in regards to getting volume. So Marvin Harrison Jr. is primed to step up this year, whereas you got a guy like Malik who's inflated in fantasy value, very expensive, and he had a pinnacle year. So you got to assume that Malik could be either trending slightly up or maybe even down, and you're going to pay more, or you get a Marvin Harrison Jr. who we know has more room to grow based on last year's number. Does that make sense? And the talent was great. Coming out of the draft, Marvin Harrison was touted to be the top prospect. It didn't work out in regards to fantasy production. But Marvin Harrison Jr. loved the upside, loved the talent, and he's trending upwards, and he's going to have a good second year. The third guy here that I was screaming at the top of my lungs last year, make sure you draft him. This is why rankings don't work. Everyone had Kirk ahead of this guy. The guy I'm talking about is Brian Thomas Jr., finishing 4th last year in fantasy points, sitting number 8 amongst wide receivers right now on the rankings. He had a good year last year, obviously finishing 4th, so the fantasy production is there. They believe in him. 133 targets, 87 receptions. He's getting it done across the board. Now, they don't have a lot of targets there. Again, who do they got? Gabe Davis. They got Brown there, who's a young guy. It's just like, who do they have? Who's going to catch the ball, right? It's going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Now, I was reading that Trevor Lawrence is working on his footwork, yada, yada, yada. Either way, listen, when it comes to volume and just being the alpha there, it's a great situation. But again, you're going to have to pay more. I was getting Brian Thomas around 7 to 9 last year. Now I got to pay a late first round, early second. A little expensive for me when I'm looking at running backs. So this is why 60 rounds helps, because you're able to figure out who the next big thing is and draft them for value. I remember Sam Laporta 2 years ago. We got him in 16 rounds. I was telling you, grab him in the 10th round. And now he was in the second round last year. Now he's dropped. See, that's the thing, right? Like 1 year they're value, the next the sheep are riding them and then they fall off. It's like you don't want to get these players when they're falling off. That being said, I still like Brian Thomas Jr. I just don't like the price tag. I just like them when the sheep were off him last year. Now they're on him, okay? It's just very, very unfortunate. All right, number 4. Let me know what you guys are thinking. And the last one, you want to stay here. It's a very interesting one. But number 4 here is Bucky Irving, 207 rushing attempts. That's what I like to see, 5.4 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns last year. Now, the problem I have with him is he's sitting as RB8, so he's a top 10 running back, very expensive, finished 13th last year amongst running backs at PPR. He was a 4th round pick in the NFL draft. So when the Bucs drafted him, they drafted him in the 4th round. So like I said before in many other videos, I have question marks about running backs drafted in later rounds. We saw Trey Benson last year drafted in 3rd round, didn't get any volume, right? Blake Corum, I think he was 2nd or 3rd round, didn't get any volume, right? You have guys like Tyler Algier who had a 1,000-yard rushing season, they draft by Jan. These teams, and you're going to see it probably again with Chase Brown and the Bengals, drafted he's a 4th or 5th rounder, and I think the Bengals got to look at another running back, right? So I just don't feel that. I feel Bucky's good. I think he's taken the RB1 spot, and they may very well stay with him, and I hope they do because I think he's really good. But in the back of my mind, I still think that he's a 4th round guy, and I've got that bias too as well. And I kind of, I'm kind of hard on these running backs drafted to later rounds because I don't see a lot of success out of it. It happens, just not as often as you'd want it. Now, that being said, I still think Bucky's in a great situation. You're going to have to pay for him. You're looking at probably a 2nd round ADP as your RB2, and I think he's safe. I think he's solid. As long as they don't draft anybody else, and even if they do, he's taking that job from Rachaad White, because Rachaad White, I was telling you, he sucked as well. Everybody was on Rachaad White last year. I'm like, dude, Rachaad White sucks. He's like a 3.5-yard average kind of guy. I like Bucky. I liked Bucky last year. Now everybody's got him as a top 10 running back. Very, very expensive, but you're looking at a sophomore player that could step up. It's probably going to be him as long as the Buccaneers utilize him to his full capabilities, okay? Last one here. Again, make sure you guys do hit the thumbs up. You are subscribed. Hit the thumbs up. Smash it, tap it, slap it, drop a comment below. Last one, it just kind of blows my mind how expensive he is. He's a tight end, and it's Brock Bowers, sitting as the #1 tight end. #1 in receptions last year. #1 in fantasy points last year. 260-plus fantasy points. 153 targets. 112 receptions. 1,100-plus yards. 5 touchdowns. This is expensive. This is a pinnacle year. This is coming off an astronomical year, but you got to look at who the Raiders have. Now, who they bring in? They brought in Geno Smith at quarterback. They've only got Myers there at wide receiver. They're going to have to make a move. I heard they're flirting with Keenan Allen coming at the time of this recording. I heard today that they're looking at bringing in the veteran Keenan Allen, who is on the tail end of his career, who I think is washed up, but he's still efficient enough to draw the top corner, and he's still a relatively solid route runner. And it's going to open things up for if they draft, Ashton Jeanty, that could help things as well. But Brock Bowers is primed to have a good season. Is he going to be utilized as a top tight end, as a top target on that team? Very possible. But again, you're paying an expensive price tag. So you're looking at a 2nd round pick for a rookie or a 2nd-year sophomore player who had a pinnacle year. So I get a little bit leery. I get a little hesitant on drafting players in their 2nd year coming off pinnacle years that are very expensive in fantasy. Does that make sense? Brock Bowers last year, loved the value. Brian Thomas Jr., I saw the opportunity for him to be the one, love the value. Now they've come off great years, but now I got to pay. Like, it's just, I'm looking for better value. And in the early rounds, especially round 1 and 2, I'm looking at running back. So let me know what you guys think. Are you investing in these sophomores? Are they trending up, down? And it's hard to tell with guys like Brian Thomas and Malik. And if I was getting them for value, sure. But first, second round, coming off pinnacle years, how much higher could they go? Right? That's the question you got to ask yourself when you're considering drafting these guys the first 2 rounds. Okay. Everything will be laid out in 16-round draft solution. Use code draft to save, get in, and make sure you guys grab the Fantasy Vault as well for all the secrets on which sites I use to help me smash my leagues. All right. Appreciate you guys. Have yourself an outstanding Easter. Remember the reason for the season, and subscribe, thumbs up. And I appreciate you guys being here. We'll talk soon in the next video. Sophomore players, second-year players. That's it for you. 5 of them, big ones here. Are you drafting them? Drop it below. We'll talk soon, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend. I'm out.